You're listening to the Future Tech Health Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Until I reached age 40, I never realized the obvious, that we all have medical issues, or we at least have a family member or close relation that had, has, or will have them in the future. Medicine and biological systems are the final frontier. Until we've conquered death, figured out how life began, cured cancer, and understood our purpose in the universe, there's a heck of a lot to talk about when it comes to our health. Future Tech Health means I'll be covering futuristic topics that are actually already in clinical trials, or even starting to appear on shelves or by prescription, or available for your own use. We dive deep into stem cells, CRISPR-Cas9, the science of sleep, epigenetics, medical testing, cancer, ketogenic diets, stem cells, aging, regenerative medicine, and more. My goal for you, the listener, is to learn from these podcasts. You may very well learn something that may change the course of your life for the better, steer you towards a new career, or give you insight into addressing a serious medical problem. Remember, however, this podcast and its content is informational in nature only. No medical, tax, legal, financial, or psychological advice is being given. If you enjoy the podcast, please listen, subscribe, like, and share it with friends. Thank you. Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Future Tech and Future Tech Health Podcast. And I have Jeff Dachis, the CEO and founder of OneDrop. It's a diabetes management platform that uses mobile computing and data science to help people with diabetes live their best lives. It's an app that I recently downloaded and tried out, and it's pretty remarkable. I'll get into why, but it's the only app I've ever downloaded that instead of me looking to try to contact the owners, the app started sending me emails and great messages and tips and everything right away. So I was like shocked. So far so good. And speaking with Jeff today. So Jeff, thanks for coming.
Well, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And thanks for the kind words.
Yeah. So tell me, what's your history? Why did you create an app like this?
Well, first of all, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in September of 2013. And I had a interesting and not so great experience with my doctor when I was diagnosed. I went in and they had looked at my blood values, and I got about 6 minutes with a nurse practitioner and an insulin pen and a prescription and a pad in the back, and I was out the door. And I went home and I really didn't know what to do with myself. I was shocked. You know, I'm a healthy guy. I eat really well. I exercise. I'm a marathoner, and I was sort of unable to process the experience that I just had. Here I was given this life-threatening diagnosis, and very little information, education, or understanding about what to do with it. And I literally cried. I put my hands over my head and I cried for quite a while. And finally, after like a couple of days of throwing this pity party for myself, I picked myself up by the bootstraps and thought, I wonder if there's something that I can do about this. And because of my background in technology, I started thinking a bit about if I had better information about the things that matter to a person with diabetes: food, medication, physical fitness and activity, and then of course glucose information, perhaps I could extract value from that information to help me make better choices leaning into the future. As opposed to reacting to things that already happened to me, was there a way that I could look forward at the data that I have and come up with insights on what to do before bad things happen to me? And sort of that was really the genesis of starting OneDrop. Was could we create a system that enabled people to change their behavior and make better choices about the future versus this sort of reactive, retrospective view that healthcare has today. And that's really what we did when we started OneDrop about a year later.
Yeah, so you have type 1, and obviously the app's designed partially for type 1s, but what about if someone has type 2 diabetes, or, if they've been told they have pre-diabetes and they need to, watch out and be careful?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because OneDrop sort of focuses on three main areas. One is our predictive data science. Two is our one-on-one dedicated personal guided care experts, coaches, and lastly, an ecosystem of connected devices and supplies, including our own. We're able to help people track the things that matter to them in a personalized way, give them a guided care program for the condition that they're trying to live with, and ensure that they have the tools and supplies that they need to live with that condition in the best way. And so whether that's hypertension, hyperlipidemia, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or type 1 diabetes, OneDrop as a platform is able to help you live with those conditions and really live your best life that way.
So I've seen, lots of apps where they tell you, log your blood sugars and, log your foods and all that stuff. But how is OneDrop different? People, I guess, log their information, but what happens to the info, and what kind of interactions would they have with the app or with the coaches?
That's also a great question. Obviously, being able to do the kind of things we do with the data that we collect from all of the people that have, the 1.2 million people in 195 countries that have utilized OneDrop in over 10 languages now, we had to make it easy for them to put their data into the platform so that that data could become useful to them, and that each and every data point that they offered us also was used to help everybody else on the platform. And that's sort of just a core fundamental belief that we have is that we're all in this problem together, this health problem that we all have together, that's all tied with food and exercise and medications and all the things that may be impacting our health, sleep, blood pressure, stress. And so when we enable people to input their data into the platform, it's clear that when they do so, they're really doing it not only for themselves, but to help everybody else that's on the platform get healthier. And so just to say that's a core fundamental belief that we have. We had to make it easy for people to engage that way. So our glucose meter is wireless. If you use a glucose meter, you don't really have to do anything other than check your blood. It automatically syncs all of that glucose data into the app. We automatically track all of your steps and all of your physical fitness activity with your phone. If you happen to use a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or a Garmin or any of the other thousands of apps that are out there, Lose It, Runtastic, Peloton, pick your favorite apps or devices that are out there, OneDrop integrates seamlessly with all of that. So as an example, I stepped on the scale this morning in my bathroom. I didn't do anything. That weight entry was automatically in OneDrop a minute later. I checked strangely, I don't have a high blood pressure, but I checked my blood pressure this morning here in the office. I have a blood pressure cuff. Automatically, all of that data sent into OneDrop. I use a connected insulin pen.
Oh, wow.
I just inject myself with that insulin pen. All of that data automatically flows into OneDrop. I take a bunch of medications. So I take Crestor for high cholesterol and Synthroid for my thyroid and a bunch of other stuff. And most people with chronic conditions are not just afflicted by one thing. They take medications for tons of things. And so OneDrop has automated medication reminders that allow me to simply just click on the push notification that shows up on my phone that says that I took the med as soon as it reminds me to, and I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to do any data entry into OneDrop. So most of the things that I need to engage with for my health, my weight, my medications, my glucose information, my insulin for me, all of that stuff is automatically entered into OneDrop. Physical activity. The one area that's a bit challenging is food, and I think logging food is an important aspect of what we track. We try to make it as simple as possible. So we have an amazing, I think the world's largest, food library database. You can scan a barcode in OneDrop and it'll automatically enter your food. You can create different meals by building ingredients together, because I often eat the same things every day. So, my favorite breakfast, I just tap Jeff's breakfast and it automatically enters that in. And then we make it super easy to do things like that with Siri or Alexa. You can just say, hey Siri, Jeff's breakfast, and it'll automatically log my breakfast for me with voice control.
Yeah, that's great. So you've taken away a lot of the hurdles and allowed people to collect all this data seamlessly and in one place. That's fantastic.
That's really the goal. It's not perfect by any means, but we certainly have an aggressive, forward-leaning view on making it really easy to do those things, so that you have that data in front of you, so that data is accessible to you, and that our insights and our predictions and our glucose forecasts can become more valuable for you.
Yeah, if you don't make it easy, then people are not likely to do it, not likely to engage, and not likely to get the help. So it's critical what you're doing, but it's smart. Makes total sense.
That's really the name of the game. If you don't make it easy, people don't use it. I think that's the problem with a lot of our healthcare today. It's like you're forcing people to jump through hoops that they're never going to jump through, and so then it's like, well, how are you supposed to get a healthier heart, if you're not losing the weight or exercising every day? That's what the doctor says, right? Lose the weight, exercise every day. But in the end, like, it's hard for people who are working 2 jobs, or who struggle to find cab fare to get to wherever they're going, or, who may be divorced and single parenting, or, have kids, that all of those stressors on life don't offer up the opportunity to do what the doctor said, which is just lose weight. You need to have, the ease of use and programmatic, as well as, devices and technology that just make it easier for you, relieve the burden of managing these conditions. And that's really what we try to do.
So what's happening with all this data that gets put in? Do you sit there and review your data, or do you just keep it all? And, when you go to the doctor, you say, here, doc, look at all this. I mean, what are some examples of people using data in a really beneficial way?
So I think you hit on a couple of really great points. One being having a record of what you did is a great conversation starter with your healthcare professional, right? So if it's your doctor or your nurse or whoever you're going to see professionally for the condition that you have, the ability to have all of that information right there in front of you to have the conversation, so that you can work through problems or issues that you might be having right away, that it offers an empowering leg up when you go to the doctor, because typically, you're basically flying blind. Somebody's behind a keyboard clacking away at some medical record thing that they're working on. You don't really get to see any of that data or that information. You don't really get access to all that info. And now you're going in, empowered with your own data and your own information, so that you're having a dialogue and a conversation versus just a one-way monologue from the doctor to you about what's working and what's not working. So that's a great place to start, whether it's just showing the doc your app, or whether it's printing out the reports and emailing them to the doctor, or giving the doctor access to OneDrop's real-time reports, which is just a link where all of your data is updated in real time. All of those are great ways to engage the healthcare professional that's helping you with the condition. Beyond that, I find that having access to my own data and being able to visualize it in different ways, whether it's OneDrop's augmented reality data visualization, which are really cool, but enable me to see where my hotspots are, whether it's all the different views on my data, whether it's time in range for a person with diabetes, or the different components of what happened during each day and how I, the struggles that I had, or the challenges that I faced, or where I did really well. For me, that's a really helpful way for me to look at what I did and what happened to me when I did it, and be able to course correct, on the way. But the biggest aspect, the biggest thing that we're doing, with that data, beyond enabling you to and be empowered with your healthcare provider dialogue, and beyond being able to empower yourself with a retrospective view on what happened to you and what you did and what happened to you when you did it, is the ability to predict the future. And with our glucose forecasts today, we're able to predict for type 2s, as an example, up to 12 hours in advance what your blood glucose values are going to be. And so if you're going to run into a hot spot or a problem spot in the next 12 hours, we can show you your forecast. It looks like a weather map, right? Here's your glucose forecast for the next 12 hours. And here's where it's expected to be. And we're so accurate with that we're able to enable people to make better choices along the way. So we give you your forecast, and then we're going to give you an insight on what you can do So your blood glucose is expected to go high for the next 4 hours. And here are the things you can do to bring your glucose values down into a safe range. Or your blood glucose values look like they're going to go low in the next hour. Here's what you can do to bring those glucose values into a safe range. And knowing what you can do for the future versus always examining what already happened to you in the past is like having an advanced collision avoidance system for your car, right? Or self-driving for your car. You're able to, see where the potholes are in the future and avoid them, avoid the rough road and stay on the smooth and easy path. And that's really what OneDrop is now providing with all that data. Is kind of, I'm using a car metaphor, but it's advanced collision avoidance systems so that we know where you're going and can help you stay on the smooth diabetes journey.
Do you interface with so you have your own device where you can stick yourself and get your blood, your sugar. Do you interface with CGMs or other commercial, finger stick devices?
Sure. So any of the connected BGMs, blood glucose meters that are out there, if you use a OneTouch or an AccuCheck or an iHealth meter or any of the sort of connected meters that are out there, all of that data flows seamlessly into OneDrop instantly. So if you don't use our meter and strips, you certainly can use any of the connected health meters that are out there, and that data flows seamlessly right into OneDrop. You can also manually enter in your BGMs into OneDrop if you feel like it. And then on CGM, we have a direct data pipeline with Dexcom, and all of the Dexcom data for type 1s, CGMs flows seamlessly into OneDrop. So it's an environment where we're very open to as many connected health devices as we can have.
That's great. And you mentioned coaching or coaches earlier. What's that look like? When would that scenario occur, and how does it work?
Yep. So OneDrop's available for free in 195 countries today in 10 languages, as I mentioned. It's been downloaded, almost, I guess now 1.3 million times, worldwide. And people love the free platform. But to access your own diabetes program or prediabetes program or high cholesterol, hyperlipidemia, or hypertension, high blood pressure programs, you have to be a subscriber to OneDrop. And so once you subscribe to OneDrop, you get all of the supplies you need. You get the meter, all the strips that you need based on a plan that you choose. And then a dedicated one-on-one personal guided care coach and program. And that coach is going to guide you through let's pick diabetes as an example, a diabetes self-management education program to help you build skills, help you set goals, and help you lower your A1C and stay healthy. And those coaches are your dedicated coach. So when you choose Alex, you get to choose a coach. When you choose Alex as your coach, Alex is your coach forever through the program, and then even on call whenever you need her. If you choose Rachel, then Rachel's your coach, and Rachel guides you through the program. And when you're done with the program, Rachel's your coach on call forever, as long as you need her. You have a dedicated one-on-one certified diabetes educator coach available 24/7, 365 in the app via text messages. And so you're basically just text chatting with your coach, and they are your personal guided care coach that helps you through these issues. Some people have issues with food. Some people are stressed out. Some people are having choices, a difficult time making choices when they are shopping. Some people are stressed out because of the divorce or work issues. And so the coaches can help you build skills and navigate these, to use Adam Brown's terms, these bright spots and landmines. And it's great having somebody available that knows the condition that you have, understand you as an individual and your specific thing. I love pasta, and it's like every time I see a bowl of pasta, it's hard for me to, my mom used to make pasta. And I love, and my mom made it. And in a way, when I was eating my pasta with my mom, it signified love, right? I was fulfilling my mother-son relationship with love. And so now it's hard for me to not eat the pasta, and I'm giving that as an example, but our coaches are rooted in behavioral science. Their skill sets are rooted in behavioral science. And so they're going to help you build skills so that you can make choices to avoid the landmines that are maybe causing you, to have health issues.
And what happens to a person's data that's in there and other people's data? You mentioned that you use it to help everybody. So one way I guess that could happen is your glucose prediction system could maybe pseudonymize or anonymize the data and use that. But how is data used by all the people on the platform?
It's a great question, and we take data security and privacy extremely seriously. So, the only data that we use on an identified basis is data for you. So you get to see your data. Your coach also sees your data. Other than that, all of the other data is de-identified and anonymized and put into a data repository where we analyze it and we help make predictions for everybody on the platform. We have extremely serious encryption technology. Our data warehousing is extremely secure. We're never, ever, 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 ever going to sell your data to anybody, ever. We're never going to use your data to allow anyone else to market anything to you or at you. And we will never share your data with anybody on the platform on an identified basis unless you give your consent. So we take data and data privacy very seriously because the ability to provide these exceptional sort of predicting capabilities on the service is super important to us. And we know that the trust and trusted relationship that we have with our users is really all we have. And operating with integrity is the only way to be.
Okay, that's great. What are some of the macro trends that you're seeing with the data? Are you seeing that people are eating differently, or once they get onto the app, their eating changes, or just in society in general? Are you seeing trends emerging?
Generally, people that use OneDrop are lowering their A1Cs, losing weight, and getting healthier. So broadly speaking, having a platform like OneDrop to engage in a healthier self-care treatment path yields the results. I mean, we have now over 20 clinical studies that we've published or presented that are all peer-reviewed, and the evidence speaks for itself. OneDrop helps people lower their A1C, lose weight, and live healthier lives. And that proof is in the pudding, so to speak. And so it's great for me to talk about how cool it is, but really in the end, what matters most is that our users are getting healthier and that they like utilizing the program.
How do you up someone's engagement? Once they start using OneDrop, how do you get them to keep using it and maybe take it to the next level? Really manage their condition and try to improve themselves. How do you get them on a path, or they just naturally seem to improve over time?
So I think broadly speaking, people have to want to engage in their self-care, right? So I can't just throw OneDrop at you and all of a sudden magically you're going to become healthier like a pill. You got to want to do it. But if you want to do it, we certainly have the program, the guidance, and the technology that makes it, easier for you to do it than what I would argue is anything else in the market. 1, 2. Everything we do, every single thing we do, every button, every email, every touch point that we have with our users is rooted in the deepest sense of empathy for the condition they have and problems and challenges and opportunities that they're going through. I have diabetes. I know what it's like to live with diabetes. Every single person that works at OneDrop either has diabetes or has somebody directly in their family that has diabetes, or one of the conditions that we work with. And so what you're dealing with is a group of people who are so passionate about making people's lives better, making their lives easier, and are doing so from a place of understanding. I know what it's like to have, an insulin crash. I know what it's like to be high and struggle with getting my glucose values down over time. I know what it's like to deal with the burden of alarms or all of the things that somebody has to go through when managing the condition that I have. And while we certainly don't get it right every time, every single thing we do is rooted in a deep, deep sense of empathy and understanding for what the person with that condition is going through. And then moreover, an immense sense of gratitude from our entire team for our users trusting us to try to make the best products that we can for them. We relish in the thought that, and are respectful of the thought that each of our users are going through their own struggles in life and their own challenges. And our company only exists with their support. And so everything we do every single day is rooted in this a deep sense of empathy and understanding and a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to try to make a difference in people's lives. And so when we approach everything we do, whether it's an email or a button or a login process or log your glucose or anything like that, it's with love. I mean, we are a company that is rooted in this sense of love for our users. And so, and I say that without any hesitation. We are deeply committed to helping our users overcome the challenges that they have in managing the conditions that they have and live healthier lives.
Great. So what's ahead for OneDrop over the next year or so?
Well, we've been growing the business, which has been great. We've been adding staff, which is also great. The goal of bringing more high quality diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, high blood pressure, prediabetes condition management programs into the market is really where we're focused for the coming year. We're bringing those programs to both consumers, direct to consumer through our main consumer offering, and then now moving into the employer market space where employers can contract with OneDrop to manage the health of their employees in these conditions. And I think we offer a really robust, consumer offering that has informed our ability to successfully engage employees in employer-sponsored plans in engaging in their health. And so if you've got a big employee base and you have a certain percentage of those employees that have diabetes or high blood pressure or high cholesterol or weight problems, OneDrop is sort of the perfect platform to bring to them to help them, engage in those conditions and stay healthier, be more productive, and live happier lives at the company that you work for. So that's a big push for us this coming year. We've got a bunch of international expansion happening as well. We've got some cool stuff under the covers that I can't really talk about yet, but a lot of really interesting things coming for the year, and we're excited to be able to offer that to all the customers.
Okay.
Yep.
So what's the best way for people to try out OneDrop? Is it available on Android and iPhone, and how can they get it?
Yeah, people can try out OneDrop by downloading the app at OneDrop. In the iOS App Store or in the Android App Store. You can also go to onedrop.today, www.onedrop.today, and check out everything that we've got there. And people can feel free to email me, jeff@onedrop.today, if they have any questions or just want to contact me, because I'm here and interested in engaging in as many ways as we can with people that struggle with these health conditions.
That's great. Well, Jeff, I mean, it shows in all ways, every single way. And, myself as a user of the app and all that, I can see it right away. So that you're passionate and you're here to help. So thanks for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, thank you so much for having me, and just grateful for the opportunity to connect with you.
You're listening to the Future Tech Health Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Until I reached age 40, I never realized the obvious, that we all have medical issues, or we at least have a family member or close relation that has, or will have them in the future. Medicine and biological systems are the final frontier. Until we've conquered death, figured out how life began, cured cancer, and understood our purpose in the universe, there's a heck of a lot to talk about when it comes to our health. Future Tech Health means I'll be covering futuristic topics that are actually already in clinical trials, or even starting to appear on shelves or by prescription, or available for your own use. We dive deep into stem cells, CRISPR-Cas9, the science of sleep, epigenetics, medical testing, cancer, ketogenic diets, stem cells, aging, regenerative medicine, and more. My goal for you, the listener, is to learn from these podcasts. You may very well learn something that may change the course of your life for the better, steer you towards a new career, or give you insight into addressing a serious medical problem. Remember, however, this podcast and its content is informational in nature only. No medical, tax, legal, financial, or psychological advice is being given. If you enjoy the podcast, please listen, subscribe, like, and share it with friends. Thank you.